The villagers organize a dinner party in honor of Sultan. Everyone is celebration mood, but Rukmani still disregards Sultan's feet and does not smile with him. Sultan is surprised because he expects Rukmani to show some gratitude to him. An old man who shares the same table at the dinner with Sultan explains to him how agriculture is important to human existence. He says it requires more hands for there to be abundance of food supply. The next day, the villagers gather for Sultan to address them. Many expect him to use the opportunity to request for Rukmani's hand in marriage, but Sultan asks the villagers to allocate some land to him and his goons to start farming with them for 6 months. This comes as a surprise to everyone, including Sultan. The villagers hold a meeting to complain about Sultan's demand because they fear he might later collect everything belonging to them, but after some disagreement, those who support that Sultan and his goons should allocated land to farm are more than those against. Sultan's goons later meet him at night to express their displeasure because they see farming as hard work. Sultan replies them saying anyone who is against his decision should signify and fight with him. If the person wins, he will accept their demand and go back to the city. Talian signifies, but one of the goons holds him back. The scene later shifts to the hospital where Jadisilan is receiving treatment and the big boss who he works for arrives. The big boss feels disappointed in Jadisilan because he could not defeat Sultan. Again at night, Sultan's goons meet him again to beg that they are tired of farming, but this time when Sultan disagrees, Tolanian challenged him to a fight. This angers Michael and he beat up Tolanian for daring to challenge Sultan. All the goons go to bed, leaving only Sultan and Manso. Now Manso tries to convince Sultan to let them return to their violent ways of life because that is the only thing the Rowdies know how to do best, but Sultan tells him that if after 6 months he does not change the lives of these Rowdies around for good, he would return to Mumbai and never return. Next morning, the big boss who want to use the land mineral resource arrives to threaten Sultan and the villagers to vacate the land, but Sultan would not take that from the big boss, so he dares him to do his worst. When the big boss wants to lay his hand on Sultan's soldier, the Rowdies resist him, so the big boss angrily leaves the village. Later in the night, he sends some assassins to kill Sultan. When he and his goons are asleep, unbeknown to these assassins that Sultan already noticed their arrival. Sultan, not wanting to wake his goons from sleep, silently beat up and chase all the assassins away without any goons noticing this except Rukmani, who sees everything from the window. Michael is seen beating a young man. This makes Sultan humiliate Michael publicly, but he later regrets his action when a village woman informs him that Michael did the right thing because he beat up the man who is molesting young girls in the village. Sultan apologizes to Michael and Michael angrily walks away. Talian meets Michael to tell him why Sultan is not a good leader and urge Michael to join him to rebel against Sultan. Some days later, the villagers discover some grains the Sultan and his goons planted with them have begun growing and everyone is happy. They express their gratitude to Sultan for his support. The big boss approaches a government representative to report activities of Sultan in the village to him, but the government official tell him there is nothing he could do about it because the villagers can now prove that the land is not barren. Rukmani also approaches Sultan in the midst of his goons to tell him she accepts his proposal, and this gladdens Sultan's heart. Rukmani's father, who is also the head of the village, accepts to give his daughter's hand in marriage to Sultan, and so the marriage ceremony is done and both become husband and wife. Few days later, Satupati's lawyer reveals to Manso that Sultan has bought acre of land for each of the Rowdies so that when they eventually leave the village, they will go start farming on their land and not go back to violence. Manso appreciates Sultan's kind gesture towards them. When Sultan and Manso are returning in a bus to the village, some assassins attack them, killing Manso. Sultan with his bodyguard fight back and chase the assassins away. Sultan grieves over Manso's death, being the closest ally to his late father. The big boss calls Sultan on phone and lets him know he's behind the attack. The rest of the goons led by Tolayan and Michael angrily blame Sultan for Manso's death because he did not allow them kill the big boss when he came to the village to threaten them. They all agreed to go avenge the death of Manso, but Sultan stopped them. Tolayan tells Sultan that they will only obey Sultan if only he fights and beats him or Michael. Michael comes forward to challenge Sultan in a fight, but Sultan feels bad about this event because these are the folks who raised him from childhood, so he is not able to fight Michael, who continues to beat him until he resists and holds Michael down. The Rowdies do not allow Sultan to participate in cremation rite of Mansoor, and after that they all leave the village, leaving only Sultan and his bodyguard. Rukmani comes to Sultan to console and encourage him. Big Boss learns that Sultan is alone, so he informed Jasilan that they will attack the village later in the night. Jasilan Jayasilan calls Sultan on phone to inform him about their coming to destroy the village. This news makes Sultan and the villagers arrange for children, women, and the aged to evacuate the village, leaving only men who are also ready to fight alongside Sultan to protect their village from ruins. When the big boss arrives with his goons, the village men are hiding in the bush, so the big boss sees on Sultan and his bodyguard, and he believes everyone has fled, unbeknown to him that the men have surrounded him. So Sultan and his bodyguard begin to fight the hoodlums that come along with the big boss, while the village men too emerge from the bush to set the enemy's vehicles on fire, including the one filled with fuel. The fight is so intense and Sultan and his bodyguard sustain a lot injuries, but they still kill all the hooligans and his hoodlums. When Sultan thinks all is over, that is when Jayasilan arrive with some hoodlums again, but when they are about to attack Sultan's rowdies, who angrily left him, return together with Sotupati's lawyer, who already tells them about the land Sultan bought for them. They all beg Sultan forgiveness, and after that they attacked Jayasilan and his men and conquer them. This is where the movie ends.